Hey y'all, it's your old pal John, and I got everybody's favorite Vic. Everybody's favorite Vic. How's it feel to be everybody's favorite?
I haven't felt the love yet.
Well, you are everybody's favorite, and that is
thank you.
without a doubt.
Thank you. Howdy, y'all. I'm looking forward to the show tonight. I'm looking forward to learning a lot tonight. I have my bourbon drinking hat on and my whiskey drinking hat on. I'm all dressed up, all classy like and everything.
Well, that's what you say. But yeah. Anyway, we're doing something a little bit different tonight. We do relate everything to beer, but I think that bourbon is becoming such a hot, hip new thing. We got our guy Jordan, our South Jersey beer scene correspondent, Jordan Crawford, who works over at Circle Liquors. That's going to talk something about what they're doing over there. And I got one of the guys from one of the breweries that does a lot of barrel aging, and they do it really, really well. So let's bring him in. First, here's our guy, Jordan. What up?
What's happening, guys?
Jordan.
And there's Donn Hoosack, our friend from Manafirkin Brewing Company.
What's up, buddy?
Up Manahawkin, another Ocean County brewery. They do a ton of great barrel aging. And for those of you who are not familiar with barrel aging, we'll talk about the process a little bit and, how it came to be and that kind of thing and how it bounds out locally. So first of all, guys, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. Yeah, man.
It's awesome. It's awesome to have you guys. And just so fair to say, basically asked Don 24 hours ago to come on the show and, through Vic, and he came in because he's the first guy I thought of when we're doing barrel age stuff. The first thing I want to talk about is, Jordan, bourbon is hip right now. Bourbon is in.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to ask you guys a question. And Jordan may know these. What are the 5 rules to be a bourbon? Does anybody know any of them? There's rules. Now beer has rules to be an IPA. Beer says, there's certain rules. Bourbon actually has a set of rules.
Yeah,
and they are. So the first thing is, and I'm going to put them up here on the board, just so I'm going to go to the big screen here.
Okay.
And we're going to.
I actually know one. I know one of them.
What is that?
More than 50% corn.
Almost, Vic. You're very, very close.
A little more, 60%, I think.
51%. Has to be 51%.
Yeah, 51%. There you go. You were closer than me.
I did say more than 50%.
Well, then you could have said more than 1%. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Let's be real.
If this was an SAT, I would have argued that one.
Yeah, you would have lost, just like when you spelled sauerkraut wrong. Okay. So the whiskey has to be produced in the United States, made from a minimum of 51% corn, and then a combination of rye, wheat, and malted barley, distilled at no higher than 160 proof, meaning that it can't be distilled no higher, or I'll say it's no good. Has to be aged in new charred oak barrels, so they can only be used once. When it goes in the barrel, it has to be no more than 125 proof, and must be a minimum of 80 proof when it comes out the barrel. Now, there's lots of, one of the things that had to be produced in Kentucky. No, it has to be produced in the United States. In fact, some of our cooler whiskeys now are coming from a lot of places. Like one of them, Las Vegas, has a new hip smokehouse bourbon that's like
Smoke Wagon. They're great.
Smoke Wagon that everybody's going around looking for bottles. So Jordan, let's talk a little bit about the program you guys got going on over there. So you're the beer guy, but you've also been building up the bourbon selection over there. So but before I do this, we belong to a couple bourbon groups, and let me tell you what, if you're doing something wrong, they're going to call you out on it. So talk a little bit.
Very quick to do that.
So let's talk a little bit about the bourbon selection, how it's grown, and just what you've seen over the last little bit.
Well, it was kind of like when I jumped into the beer program there. There was kind of we had a lot, but we were missing a lot of opportunities there. People were looking for the cool, different little breweries, little things that, you can't get. And that's kind of what I'm doing with the bourbon program, is that sort of thing. Is you got to pay attention. Like you said, you got to be in the groups. You got to be in the bourbon groups. You got to listen to the customers when they come in. You got to pay attention. You got to be involved. But it's fun, and there's a lot of cool stuff out there. And the people are knowledgeable. The consumers are very knowledgeable. You got to be fair on price. You got to be fair on giving it out to people, divvying it. It's fun.
And it's similar to beer in that sense.
Yeah,
we've seen such you've seen an explosion of beer. When did you ever think that you would have the Alchemist on your shelf at Circle Liquor
and sit there for a day or two? Because it's just the Alchemist, no big deal.
Yeah.
And people know how much this stuff costs. They know, how hard it is to get. And, I've become one of those guys that says, oh, there's a liquor store. Let me go in and see what they got there for both beer and now bourbon.
Okay.
And Jordan probably knows these guys that just come in, the lurkers coming in, just looking for cherry picking some stuff. And it's become a real, real cool thing.
So can I ask a question as a novice? Because really, I don't know a lot about bourbon at all. Now, you called it whiskey before. Now, is every bourbon a whiskey, but every whiskey not necessarily a bourbon? Is that a good explanation?
That's the perfect explanation. And I like to tell people the umbrella is whiskey, underneath bourbon, Canadian, Scotch, that's all underneath the umbrella.
Mic drop.
Scotch.
You nailed it.
All right, we'll see you later, Vic. I'm good with that.
All right, guys. that's my mic drop.
And just like Scotch has to be made with peat. There's a couple different things that signify, but they are all whiskeys. So one of the things that I see he's already dipping in there. One of the things that Circle's done, and along with a lot of other liquor stores, local liquor stores in areas, that it's a barrel selection program. It's that's really, really cool. And the one we're going to talk about in particular tonight is this one that you have on the shelf over there from Barrel, and it's a this is my second bottle. I'm not going to lie, I have a problem.
You and me both.
So this is a really cool. So I was actually there the day these came in. I just happened to stop in, and he's like, "You got to see this, man." So tell us about what makes this particular barrel from the brand Barrel Bourbon. What makes this something that somebody would want?
Well, what's always fun is we'll start with when they come down, they taste you on usually 3 to 4 different picks from different areas of the warehouse. So you get the lower level, mid, upper, different flavor combinations, different alcohol levels, things like that. But what's great about these is this you're getting is a 14-year-old bourbon. You're getting it at, I think, around $85, something like that, $90. And to get a 14-year-old of this quality at that price is like unheard of. So that's why the barrel programs are good, because they always over deliver on quality as far as cost.
And it's a limited run, and I think you got the barrel for this one, didn't you? So you picked the barrel.
Yeah, we gave it to a certain little brewery that might be doing something with it. So that should be.
That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah. And so Donn and the guys over there at Manafirkin, they're familiar with that part of it because they're in search of barrels, forever in search of barrels, and they do some cool stuff with it too.
We should link up and do something. Sorry to interrupt, John, but we should definitely link up on our next barrel. We'll throw something your way.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds, and they get some good barrels.
They
get some really cool barrels that come in the circle. So the bourbon is best. I don't know. Everybody drinks them out of a different glass. This is I think the glass of choice is the Glencairn glass that everybody seems to want to do. And it's just like we use different glasses to drink beer. This is, the kind of the preferred thing to drink whiskey. And he's got, whatever you have is probably good. But
no, I like to own the rocks. So I always just own the rocks.
I've given up, and I don't put anything in mine. I just drink it like this. So what's cool about the program over at Circle's really taken off. For any of you that are looking or in the bourbon world, stop over there and see what they got. You see Jordan, say, hey, tell me we sent you over there. There's lots of cool stuff on the shelf over there. So that leads me into the next thing. So they use these barrels, fill them up with, and make a bourbon or whiskey or however you want to call it. They can only use them once. So then the barrels go to someone like Donn. And Donn, tell us what you do with the barrels. What's so funny? Vic is laughing at something.
I'm just looking at Pilsen Abiza's comment.
Oh my God, I don't even have the things up there.
You're all lightweights. I could drink you all under the table.
I'm not seeing any comments yet, but I'm sure they're great.
All right, I'll take a challenge. If I lose, I still win, I think. But anyway, so Donn, so now you go pick up these barrels. How do you go about getting these barrels as a brewery owner?
Well, we've been pretty exclusive with Laird's Applejack Brandy for quite a while, and we love those barrels. They're probably my favorite barrels to use, and we put almost everything in there. But we wanted to just explore a little bit, and I would say on our last run, we went up to there was a place in Northeast PA, and we drove up there, and they had a ton of barrels. They had whiskey. We got Dad's Hat rye. We got Wild Turkey, and we bought a bunch of wine barrels too, because I wanted to do some sours and like some blondes, and we put I think it was Nice Cream too. We put in a red wine barrel. So we got cognac barrels too. So we kind of went up there and got everything. And again, this was our experimentation process. And for the whiskey barrels, we were doing projects where we do side by side comparisons. So we would take our Wake the Frick Up beer, which is a coffee stout. We would put it in rye whiskey, and then we would put it in Laird's. Same batch, we just split it right in half and side by side it. So we kind of get the feel of how it changes, what it does, and the flavor compounds. So that was pretty fun because you get to have it side by side. And we did that for Midnight Barrels too, which is another beer of ours, and the Barbell Stout. So we did the whiskey side by side with the Laird's. It's hard to say which one I like the best. The aroma on the Laird's is amazing, but then you get the vanilla components of the whiskey barrels on that side of it as well. So it's very different. It's amazingly different, surprisingly.
So what's cool is, go ahead, you can get the char, like you can actually smell the char of the barrel, and right. it kind of translates into the beer differently as almost a caramelly sweetness when you go through it. So for those of you who are nerdy about beer like I am, this book here by Josh Noel, who is the Chicago Tribune writer that we had on a radio show more than once, wrote the article about where barrel-aged stout came from and how it transitioned Goose Island going to the evil empire of Anheuser-Busch. But the guy who ran Goose Island at the time was the son of the original owner, was just a savant for beer, and said, why don't we do this? So he kind of, if my history serves me right, he kind of figured this out. And it became such a sensation that they started doing all these different barrels. And other companies like Founders got a hold of it, and they took the barrel, a maple syrup barrel, then they did this and they did that. You got 3 different barrels. And then cigar companies took those barrels and put tobacco in and made cigars from them. So it created a whole industry for these barrels to do different things with to extend your brand. And I know Founders this year
sauces I've seen hot sauce in barrels.
Hot sauces. Yeah. And then this year Founders came out with like 2 more variations of what, and I think you still have some on your shelf over there, the KBS.
Yeah, that was a
barrel
beer,
aged.
It would sell out like wild, but now it just kind of hangs. It's not cool.
But it's more readily available here. So yeah. So if you're looking for a good read, this is really a good read.
They did another version of KBS. Wow.
Vic is a hater.
No, I'm not. I love Founders and I love the beers, but
he's such a hater. Founders.
Here we
go.
go.
I am not. I love Founders. Jordan knows we talk about this every time. Don, the thing is every time the top beers come out, the top 10 beers, there's like 4 Founders, and it's all the same beer.
Right.
It's all the same beer, just different ways. But that's just my opinion.
Wouldn't it be great if as my brother, I must have butt dialed him. No, I didn't mean to call you. No, it was Abby. I'm sorry, my daughter.
Well, her you can answer.
No, I'm on Facebook Live. Get on there quick. Yeah, I'm going to answer my daughter, right? So Vic hates Founders because they found a way to make money and good beer at the same time and hype. No. He just hates that. So he'll go back and drink his Grolsch or his Mickey's or whatever it is because he wants to be cool. He is the reverse hipster, Jordan. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Don knows me very well. He knows I'm very hip, right, Don?
And he still came on the show. That's right.
Nick is awesome.
So go ahead.
What I really like, and there's a lot of places make some great barrel aged beers. But Manafirkin, will say something like someone say, why would you put a cream ale in a barrel? And Don says, why not? And that's what this is. This is Vanilla Nice. Now this is from the Wild Turkey, correct, Don?
Yes, this is the Wild Turkey. The first time we did this beer, we did it in the Applejack brandy, which was great. But with the vanilla component to that beer at baseline, we felt it would, do its justice just as good in a bourbon barrel, getting that vanilla components and the.
By the way, suck it, Vic.
Madagascar vanilla beans.
I love Founders beers. I'm finished. Go ahead, Don. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so we felt, the vanilla with the Madagascar vanilla beans and the vanillin from the wood and it being such a light beer at baseline, those flavors really came through well in a cream ale in a bourbon barrel. I've never seen one on a shelf before, and it's kind of where we like to stick it. If we've never had it, but we're definitely going to make it. Type of thing.
For those of you who are there watching out on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button there. And if you're on Facebook, hit the thumbs up button too. And if anybody is watching on Twitch, I will jump up and down for joy because I don't even really know what that is, but my kid told me I should be sending it there. So I feel like it's one of these things, but I don't really know. So who knows? Don, one of the things, my favorite things, you guys make great beer, but the names that you guys come up with beer is fantastic. So let's just go through some of the names. And Jordan, you see beer names all day. These guys trying to out clever each other. These guys win. So let's run through some of these names that you have for the beers.
Let's see. I don't know, Vic. What do you think? Good.
You can start with wait the fuck up.
We had Caramel Toe.
Caramel Toe.
I forgot about that one. That's
Bach Holiday.
Yeah, Bach Holiday was a good one.
Nice Brews.
Nice Brews.
Yeah.
We had a Baba Bluey.
We had celebrity series where we kind of use names and we tweak them. We had Lady Laga. It was a lager.
Now you have the IPA that you have named after Leland. Leland's one of your original customers there.
Leland's Law, right?
Yeah,
we have a customer who's in probably almost every day that we're open, and he's an IPA guy. That's all he really drinks, and he just tells me and everybody else, if you're not drinking an IPA, you're drinking water. So kind of that type of style, and so he's a cool guy. He's a world, he's a veteran, and so we made him a beer and kind of really threw the kitchen sink into this beer. And then we actually did a variant style and we barrel aged it for him too. And we made, bottles with that. And that beer was brilliant. I couldn't believe how good this beer came out, especially with the hop load that's in the beer. It's, sitting in a barrel for, 6 to 8 months. It actually did some justice. It was really, really good.
Oh, you also had Look Back in Amber.
Don't Look Back in Amber.
Don't Look Back in Amber. That was one of Steve's, wasn't it?
I think he did name that one. Yeah.
I just want to say we had the first appearance of little Reggie, Jordan's adorable daughter here on the over 18, over 21.
Say good night.
Good night to Reggie. His adorable little girl, and he's going to be a dad again very, very soon. So
April 16th,
April, the day after. Is that the day after the taxes are due?
No, geez.
Yeah, there you go. So I got to see little Reggie on TV. When you guys are, one of the things I like asking people is like, how do you come up with these beer names? And then what happens after you have a name? Do you instantly go to Untapped to make sure there's not 17 name that?
Yeah, that's kind of like a thing. We all just brainstorm a name and then, we punch it in on tap and see if it's there. And then we kind of just go for it from there. Usually it starts if we're in, there, we're drinking, we just start doing it there. But a lot of times it's on a text thread during the day. Somebody thinks of something and punches it through, and then it becomes a thing throughout the course of a day, and then it finalizes eventually. Even for instance, the one I'm drinking now, this is called Pimp My Ride, like RYE'D. You've seen this show on MTV before.
I had that. That's a really nice beer too.
That's a rye sour. That was
very nice.
Yeah, it tastes like liquid rye bread. It's really.
And you told me about the best Untapped review of all time. I don't know if you remember.
Don loves Untapped. He loves it.
It's funny. I send Vic all the goodies.
There was one where you guys did something with, and it tasted grassy, and that was the description of it. So
we did.
This is what brewery owners deal with, folks.
Yeah, no, we did a wheatgrass beer. Yeah, we collaborated this with what was that? What's the name of that place, Vic? Across the street from
Joe's lawnmower service.
no. Oh no, it was
Yeah,
like,
I know. I can't remember. I know what you're talking about.
it's like a juicing. They sell like they juice,
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember.
And so we got some wheatgrass from them, and we pressed it and then put it into a beer. And I forget. I think it was Nice Cream. Maybe it was a cream ale that we.
It was a cream ale. I do remember that.
I think it was. Oh no! It was the Bohemian Pilsner. That's right.
Okay.
And then we, put the wheatgrass in there, and it was wheatgrass for sure. And somebody, put on Facebook that beer tastes like grass clippings. Gave me a 2.5 star or something. I'm like, well, yep, you nailed the profile for sure.
100%. Yeah. Jordan, when you're walking up and down the beer aisles there at Circle Liquors, and you got a lot of people that are versed in beer and people that aren't versed in beer, how do you explain to people what a milkshake IPA is? I'm just curious.
It depends on the person. Sometimes you got to keep it simple, and then you can get into it. You know what I mean? But I just little lactose, little vanilla. Just keep it simple most of the time. But if they're versed, then you can go a little more into it. But it's a lot of people, when they say it, they ask what it is. You explain it, and they look at you like you're nuts.
Yeah, and they have a tremendous beer selection. They have everything from, they have some really cool stuff. Anybody that has beer that wants to get it out there, they get to Jordan. He's got the Referend in there. He's got, the Alchemist, whatever. And you just had some Bissell Brothers. Anything that comes in that's new and different, they have over there. But that also means to get those, you got to take some other ones. And I was looking on the shelves over there the other day, and there's some beers I'm thinking like these people are just way trying too hard. So what is the most overused adjunct? I'm going to ask all three of you. Don, what do you think the most overused adjunct in beer is today?
Ooh. Probably lactose.
Lactose, yep. I agree. What about that?
100%.
Vic?
I think it's right.
That was 100%.
Well, if I would say that, I would say lactose also. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing
you took my answer. Yep.
To me, it's amazing, and it really, I think, in this area comes from the people over at Tired Hands started doing these lactose, crazy triple milkshake IPAs and a bunch of other different stuff, and now everybody's doing them. And I understand beer has to move, but I just don't get it. I'm one of those guys that just doesn't get that.
I like beer that tastes like beer. Some of these sweet, sugary drinks. I don't know. There's a time and place for it, but I can't crush these things all the time.
Exactly.
And I think some of our friends do them. Some of our friends do them really, really well. There's people up in your neighborhood there that do them well. We see them, but man, I'll tell you what, everybody's doing it now, and it's amazing to me how much it's changed. Yeah. In that end.
I agree.
Don, how many times can you actually use a barrel?
Well, we've only used it once. Out of all the barrels we've ever used, which is in the hundreds, we've only used them one time. We've never reused a barrel. Actually, I'm going to take that back because we have. I have a port wine, 125 gallon, almost like we use it now as a fodder.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first beer we put in there was Bach Holiday.
Tell people what a fodder is.
It's a wood vessel that you can store beer in, and typically you reuse them. You spend money for them, of course, and you just don't want to pop that one time. So we spent a buck or two on this thing, and then the first beer we put in there was Bach Holiday, which was a Bach style of beer, and we made it into a Christmas beer. Little spices and stuff we put in there, and that beer was awesome. And then what we did. Now we turned it into a sour fodder. So we have a fermenter we call the Funk Tank, and that's kind of what we do our sours in. And now every beer that comes out of the Funk Tank goes into the sour fodder. So it's it's inoculated now. It's got its own bacterial, the bugs are in there, and so it kind of it's a sour barrel. Like you don't want to put anything else in there that you don't want to sour.
How long does stuff stay in a barrel? How long do you leave it in there?
Well, I mean, we have a sour that's been almost probably a little over 2 years right now. That's our one we've had in there the longest. But I would say, the sweet spot for us for most of our barrel stuff, I think, is somewhere around 4 months, 5 months. The flavor profiles are really strong at that point. A lot of times we let things sit. The same beer we made, we let it sit longer. It changes, almost not for the better. I think I think 4 to 5 months is really. I mean, for us, we've been doing this for a couple of years now. So that's I found to be the sweet spot. Some of the stouts I keep probably a little longer. Could be like 8 to 9 month range for a lot of our stouts. But we barrel age lighter beers too, like cream ales and lagers and stuff. So usually like maybe that 4 month range I like a lot.
Yeah. Now, Don, how often when it's in there, how often do you pull the nails and taste it to see if it's where you actually want it?
Usually about once a month. I kind of, yeah. You read a lot of books and a lot of guys say, "Oh, don't touch it." But, I like to, make my notes and, figure out what's going on and, where that happy sweet spot is. So probably about, once a month we start pulling stuff.
I was talking to, I had a meeting, one of the brewery owners today, a brewer at one of a brewery down south here. And they had made a wee heavy. And last year they used, they had a Buffalo Trace barrel, and this year they had a wild turkey barrel. And he said he could not believe the difference in the beer, the same recipe sitting in the different barrel, the different flavor profile gave them. So,
which one did he like better? Did he say?
Well, he said that the Buffalo Trace, which is Buffalo Trace, and I'm going to go to Jordan. He can explain. Yeah. There's really only like 5 distilleries, is the way I'm figuring out, and they have all these different brandings underneath of them. But the Buffalo Trace, he said, was a little bit more of a char and a little bit more sweet, and the Wild Turkey, which is still, they just fermented, they just carved it, right, is a little bit more hot, a little bit more cinnamon, that kind of thing, and I can get that from tasting the two. Mm-hmm. So and it's interesting, and we talked about this the other day. The barrels are all put into this building, and explain how where the barrel is in the distillery makes a difference for this stuff, Jordan. I mean, I know you're more well versed in this than me. So, how you select your barrel, and they tell you where it is and why it would be this taste. So,
from what I've gathered is you go different levels. Ground level, up higher. I tend to like the higher barrels, get more heat. You get more, what you call the barrel, kind of going in and out, like kind of almost breathing. So they lose some of the actual liquid to the angel share. So you get more, to me, concentration, more flavor, more richness, more everything. So I tend to go up higher to the mid-level as opposed to the floor, where this was the barrel selection we're trying. That was a little higher in the Rick House. So that's what I gather from this.
Yeah, and it's funny. So one of the bourbons that I like is Blanton's, which is, I guess, is one of the bourbons everybody likes. Mm. They actually, if I could show you a bottle here, which is different than beer, they actually handwrite when it was harvested. I guess that's not the right word, but when they pulled it, what barrel it was in, what rick it was in, and who did the filtering. It's crazy. I mean. And and of course they did that with yours as well. I mean, you can go right here and they tell you right there, they handwrite it on the barrel. That's a lot of work. Yeah, that's can you imagine how many barrels are doing in these? Right.
Now, John, we had spoken before as far as bourbon. Like I said, I don't really know much about bourbon except drinking Southern Comfort when I was 18 years old, many years ago.
Bourbon. Good try.
It's not. I don't know. Okay, whatever.
My mom. Does your husband drink that too?
Okay. Now, what I wanted to ask you is, how do you know what's good in bourbon? Like, what's good, what's bad? How can you tell? Like you said, this is a good bourbon. What makes it good?
Two things. First of all, I asked the guy at the store. Like, if I go to Jordan and say, Jordan goes, what kind of bourbon do you like? Do you like it hot? Do you like it this? Do you like this? He'll go and point at 6 bottles and go, you'll like these. What do you drink normally? Do you drink this? Well, then you're going to like these. I mean, it's kind of weird how I say to him, hey, I like Buffalo Trace, which to me is my everyday go-to, great, inexpensive. And if I say, if you like Buffalo Trace, he's going to say, oh, well, you're going to like Blanton's, you're going to like this Weller, you're going to like this because it's wheated, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
That's how they know that. But trying it, you need to try the stuff. Just like with beer. I didn't know I was going to like a wee heavy.
Exactly.
I didn't know I was going to like a wee heavy. And I mean, I tried, I was like, where have you been my whole life? That kind of thing. Donn didn't know how his beer was going to turn out, put it in an Applejack barrel. He knew how I hoped it was going to turn out, but then he tasted and what that will make it better. There's bourbon that I have. It's too hot for me. I mean, I can't drink it. I have to put ice cubes in it. I don't like to do that. I like to just drink it neat. But I mean, it's still drinkable. I just have to water it down. Some people say to put a drop of water in it to just get that flavor to move, with stuff. And, with beer, sometimes you got to let it sit. I mean, if I open a stout and it's a little too cold, I'm going to let it sit. And as it warms up, it starts to release what's in that beer that makes it that stout. And it'll make things taste a little bit different. I just had a Baba Bluey the other day, which was sitting in my cellar for God, I don't know how long, Donn. And I'll say, "Hey, let me try this." And as it warmed up, the nice thing about barrel aged beers is that the flavor changes from the first sip to the last sip, and it's incredible that the taste that you get through that.
Now, how did that age as a lager? Because I don't have any left. I haven't had like a 1 or 2 year old Bluey, but. It was good.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So, the hops fall off a little bit. You don't get a little bit of that, but the flavor was there. I know that we did radio with you guys, and I had was it Iron Barbell Monkey? What's the name of the?
Oh,
Trippin' Monkey is the Belgian, and Barbell Stout was another.
I had a Barbell Stout in a crowler that was sitting in my refrigerator for probably a year and a half.
Wow. And
I brought it to the show we did that morning, and it was awesome.
It was really good. Yeah, that was that aged pretty well. Yeah.
It had changed, and the way that it changed, and in a crowler, you're like, is there air getting in there? Is there something happening?
Yeah,
it was great. So,
the name Barbell, because it's almost like it's split name. Like bar is a barrel aged, and the bell is Belgian. It's a Belgian stout, so Barbell.
Oh,
yeah,
I get it now.
Yeah.
So we're getting time.
Yeah, it's fermented with the same yeast from Trippin' Monkey, which is a Belgian triple.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting near the end of we're going to get near the end of the show here real quick. And I'm going to steal a Vic thing. And Vic, we always ask what music they listen to.
Okay. You're allowed.
I'm not going to steal it, but I'm going to ask you guys, what is the last music that you listened to today or yesterday? What's the last thing you heard that you listened to? I'm interested to see if it was a Sesame Street thing coming from your house, Jordan. But what was the last thing that you put on and listened to?
I was in my car on the way home. What was I listening to? Probably Strung Out, which is one of my favorite bands. That's probably that was in there. Yeah.
Jordan, what are you listening to?
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. That's the last song I listened to.
Very good. What do you got, Vic? What's the last thing that you popped?
Last thing I listened to, actually, my son turned me onto it. Phoebe Bridgers, I Know the End.
That's mine. That's exactly mine.
Really? Freaking awesome.
I put that on this afternoon because she was on Saturday Night Live and she broke a guitar.
Kicked ass. She didn't actually, it didn't break. I watched the video of it.
She attempted it.
She was freaking awesome.
And she's like a folksy, hip, kind of hipster. It was really, really good. That's what I listened to today.
Yeah, she was awesome.
It was great. So, Jordan, let's talk about if you want to go see Circle Liquors. What do we do? You got online shopping. What do we do to get stuff from you guys? And what are your hours and all that minutia?
All the above. Give us a call, 609-927-2921. You can check us out on Instagram. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, all the above. Hours 9 to 10 daily. Come see me and I'll take care of you.
I will say this too. If you guys are doing an event and you're looking to have somebody help you, you're going to have a wedding or you're going to have whatever you're going to have, and you got to supply the liquor. I've had to do this twice at my own wedding and at my daughter's wedding. I just popped over to Circle Liquors. I said, this is how many people I'm having. What do I need? They pick it all out for you. They drop it off, and they pick up the unused bottles, and they give you a bill. What a fantastic service
That's awesome.
that they provide there. And go ahead. I lost you, Jordan.
We deliver all locally. Sorry about that. We deliver locally, and like John said, we make it real easy. Drop off, pick up. Don't charge you anything until the end. We just use a credit as a hold. It's great.
It really
and
truly is
one more
one
plug.
Of
Sorry if you don't.
Go ahead. No, go.
If you don't mind, Elijah Craig barrel coming soon. Maker's Mark barrel coming soon, and then we got a few other things in the works.
And make sure that this barrel isn't going to last forever. I mean, it's at a really good price. It is a premium bourbon. It's on the shelf over there.
Get it while you can.
There and get it. Yeah, because I've gone through a bottle. I got a bottle of Christmas. It was funny because I kept going over there and picking up bottles, and my wife was trying to find something to buy me for Christmas from there and calling Jordan. And every time he would have one, I would go over and pick it up. And I think the story changed.
You made it tough. I made it tough.
But I think that for this year, that is the best. That's the best bourbon I've had. Don, what do you got going on, Manafirkin? Can you talk to us about hours? Talk to us about what's going on over there.
Yeah, we're currently open Wednesday to Sunday. Come around maybe mid-June time, we're talking about being open every day for the summer, which is new for us, and we're looking forward to that. A lot more barrels coming. We have a lot of neat new beers. Our latest, one of our latest ones, which was actually this was concepted from because Todd and I've been drinking a lot of old fashions, so he's trying to get me onto the whiskey train. And so
Todd is a big bourbon guy.
He's a big bourbon guy, and I'm getting there, and he's teaching me a lot with it. But the old fashions I kind of really like too, and I was like, ooh, let's make a beer that tastes like an old fashioned. So we took our amber beer. Don't Look Back in Amber. We aged it in Dad's Hat barrels. And then we added, as it was aging, the orange bitters into the barrel. And this
Vic, you know what you need to do for me.
This beer tastes like an old fashioned. And
that's awesome.
I think I actually have a bottle of that upstairs in the fridge.
Yeah.
Do you have some still at the brewery?
I think we do. Yeah, I think they're still there.
Yeah, I'll get you one. Jordan, you will have one of those. I know that you will like one of those. Let's grab a couple of them. I'll Venmo you.
This beer's that, yeah.
Okay.
I'll and
Don, if you ever feel like throwing some beer out in the wild, I'll definitely take some. If you feel like
thank
hit the
you so
streets
much.
Down my way.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Summers Point is the gateway to dryness into Ocean City. So remember that. It's where they go in. And Vic's got an article coming up. We're concentrating a little bit more. We're spreading our wings, as I'm telling everybody. We're doing some stuff. Tom did a really cool article on hiking this week and beer at the Morse River Park and it up over at Glasstown. Vic has some homebrew stuff coming out, and I'm going to say this live. Vic did a wonderful podcast, a wonderful Zoomcast with not only all of our home brewery people, but he also went over to Manafirkin, who has igloos outside that we failed to mention. Has the igloos outside, and because I'm going to blame it on everybody but me. I was so busy at work. I totally forgot about it, and my son-in-law's in it, all these people at one. So it's archived. I'm going to put it up on YouTube, and I will put it on Facebook. The timing is probably not relevant at this point.
Probably not.
Look at Vic. Vic was dressed up as Mrs. Claus, so it's worth a watch anyway. No. But my apologies to Vic. I mean, in 4 years, we just passed our 4th anniversary. I had
this hat on for it. For those of you who actually catch it, I had this hat on. It was a long time ago. We did a great video with Cody and Steve. They were superstars, so they'll be superstars in the underground.
Yeah, it'll be up. We'll get it up there and put it up there. It's very. My apologies to everyone. In 4 years, just based on 4 years, that is the first one that I didn't get to. I totally choked on it, so I apologize. And I kept saying I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. Next thing you know, it's Easter. So sorry about that.
With a lot of my harassment.
Well, I think, and in fairness to Vic is one of the nicest guys that I know, and he knew that. What I do during the day, it's been really a little bit crazy, and Don as well. We're both in the medical field. It's been a little crazy, and so I kind of lost sight of all that. So Anyway, so thanks.
I'm getting a lot of good press about my hat.
Oh, really? I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not really paying attention, Vic.
Well, Kevin Riley O'Reilly put it there. My buddy Mark Stanish is watching now, and he's loving the hat too, which actually came from Ireland, and St. Paddy's Day is coming up soon.
Nice.
Hey, and while I got our buddy Kevin on there, he needs to call me because Kevin, we need to get you on this videos because Kevin is one of my favorite people ever. To get, and he's a brewery owner over there in PA, where apparently owning a brewery is fun, not like here in New Jersey. And we'll get on there. So Kevin, get in touch with us. He's one of my favorite people of all time. So keep an eye on the website. Get on our YouTube channel. We'll have all this archived. Go see Jordan. Go see Donn. Go see the guys at Manafirkin. And if you guys want, Vic has 8x10 signed photos of himself in a Speedo. Just it's Vic.
I'll take two.
sjbeerseed.com.
On the way, Jordan. As long as you get me that assassin that I was asking for.
I know.
Yeah. Just drive to Minnesota.
I'm working on it,
Jordan.
Get me assassin, and you could have what you want.
I'm working on it.
All right, guys. Thanks again, and thanks everybody for watching on YouTube and on Twitch. If anybody's watching, what is that? I know.
Maybe,
I'm not cool with
people are watching. They're texting me, telling me there's a bunch of people watching. They're texting me, telling me there's a bunch of people watching here. I don't know. I can just see whatever. I don't care. It's fun just to hang out with my friends. So anyway, guys, cheers from me and you and everybody, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Care. Next Thursday, we're gonna have Little Water Distillery on here talking about some stuff that's going over there in Atlantic City, and a special beer guest that we're putting together to bring on with them. And I think Jordan will jump on with us too. Won't you, Jordan?
We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'll be there.
Look, he's getting an age and all kinds of other stuff. Vic, I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what happened when you're drinking bourbon during a show.
Right.
Oh, during the day. Let's just go there. All right, guys. Cheers. Have a great night.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good night.